Hello, hello, as they say.
How are you?
Thank you for coming. Thank you very much. Ivan, now, take us back to 1976. It's nearly 40 years ago. Take us all the way back to the school days, the corridors back in Mount Temple, and just explain to us how you came across the notice.
Right, 1976. I was about this high, with long hair, big flares on, and I was 13 years old. And my friend Peter Martin said to me, "Oh, Larry Mullen's trying to get a band together. You've got an electric guitar, haven't you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "You better go, because I don't think anyone else has one." So off I went to Rosemount Avenue on that fateful afternoon. We all got together in the kitchen. There was Paul and Dave and Adam and Larry and myself and Dave's brother. And we started playing some terrible music. I don't even know what we played. Probably a bit of T-Rex or a bit of Bay City Rollers or whatever was in the charts. I mean, there's all sorts of legends go on about, oh, they played this cool song and that cool song. Nobody knew any cool songs. We might have done Smoke on the Water. In fact, we probably did. Everybody played Smoke on the Water. I mean, I could hardly play. And The Edge, or Dave, no one had any of those daft names back then. We were just kids at school. He liked my guitar, so he took that off me, being 15 and me being 13. I couldn't really refuse him. And he gave me his old plank of wood that I think him and his brother had knocked together in the garage. It was something else, that guitar of his. And anyway, that was the birth of the band. And I was very excited about it. I think my dad came and picked me up afterwards, and I went home very excited, wrote something in my diary about it. And then we had a couple of rehearsals 2 weeks later at the music room in school. They were fun, and it was already clear by then that Bono was going to be the leader, or Paul was going to be the leader of the band. Yeah. He wasn't playing the guitar or anything, but he was running around making everyone play their instrument. Really, he was very intense even then. He's down on his knees in front of Dave's guitar, going, "Come on, make it happen! No, that note, this note here." You know, he was like that with him. And I think he was singing on one of those little thin microphones, and it was plugged into the Sony Hi-Fi in the yeah. Oh, it was fun anyway. And lots of kids were coming around. It was all very exciting. Anyway, I thought it was great. I'm in this band. It's really cool. Anyway, it was shortly after that, Adam rang me up and said, "We've got this gig in a pub." And I went, "Oh, great." And he said, "You're too young to get in a pub." And, "Well, are you kicking me out of the band?" And he said, "Yeah, sorry." Anyway, it didn't occur to me at the time that they were all too young to get in the pub as well. I just said, "Oh, all right." Anyway, I was pretty devastated that afternoon, but I was looking in my diary, because I used to fill in a diary every single day, every single night. I'd fill in something that I'd done that day, and I've got that entry in there as well. "Oh, they kicked me out of the band," and then it's about a week later, "Oh, I started another band." So I wasn't that devastated anyway, and I went on with my band and we used to play lots of gigs together and do lots of things. And when they started gaining traction and things started happening for them, we all thought it was going to happen for us, but it didn't. Not for me anyway.
What I wanted to talk to you about as well is Mount Temple itself, because Mount Temple, there's so many people come out of Mount Temple, particularly from the mid-70s. It seemed to be a very revolutionary school. It certainly has come across as being that, but also as well, the teachers there, the whole way the curriculum was run, it seemed to create a lot of creative talent. Is that how you saw it, and is that how it felt?
Well, in hindsight, yes, it was like that. I mean, when you're at school, that's all you know. That's the school I knew, and it was a very liberal school. I mean, I had been to a Christian Brothers school before that, and I knew what this sort of oppressive place that could be. And so I just enjoyed, yes, it had great freedoms, great encouragement. There was a couple of teachers. Donald Moxham, a history teacher, was a great enabler of whatever the kids wanted to do. He would help them out. He would organise practice rooms for bands or school discos. And Albert Bradshaw, who used to run the choir, he was another great teacher. And Jack Heaslip was the RE teacher. He was another. They were all great. It was a really good school. It had no religious affiliations. Everybody was encouraged to do what they wanted to do. There was no school uniform. It was a very free and easy place. Yeah, it was great.
One of the things I can't understand is there's 6 of you, and you've got all your instruments, and it's a modern or 1950s suburban semi-detached house with a small kitchen. How the bloody hell did you all fit in?
Well, as I remember it, Larry had the back door open and he's just sitting there like that and he had his little drum kit around him. And then the rest of us were like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how it went. And then Bono was sort of in the middle, muscling around, pushing everyone out, making up words. He was a great one for making up words. He never knew the words of any songs.
Nothing's changed there.
No, he definitely was good at that. But he could play, actually. He could play a bit of guitar, and he taught me, because I was, as I said, I'm 3 years younger than him, and I remember him teaching me one day after I was out in the band, and they came round to my sister's birthday party. They were in the same year as my sister Stella, and he sat down and taught me the intro to Johnny Be Good, and I thought, oh, this is great. I can play this rock and roll guitar riff. And I've been playing it ever since, the way Bono taught it to me. And then I'm a big Chuck Berry fan. And then I was watching somebody playing it one day, and they played it completely different. I said, you're playing that wrong. And he said, no, I'm not. You're playing it wrong. I said, I was taught that by Bono, you know.
Well, listen, we're running slightly out of time at the moment, but we will be back for a second half. There's going to be an interval between the two sets, but what I'd like to do now, please, is if we can welcome December, all the way from Glasgow. Thank you very much. Mr. Ivan McCormick.
4th gig that they had done and we had done, we were Frankie Corpse then, and we played, it was an open day at school at the end of term, and on top of the boiler room, outdoors, there's a picture of myself and Frank Cairns and Neil and everybody doing our thing. We look pretty cool, and then there's a picture identical on the same spot of you two, and they just look so dynamic. Bono's all over the place, and the Edge is doing something with his guitar. And just thinking, they always had something that was a bit better. They always just looked a little bit more exciting.
Yeah. They actually were very, very professional in their early years. Their ambition was quite clear from a very early stage, particularly Bono, no doubt about it. Music mattered tremendously, and they really put the preparation in. They played a lot of concerts right through in 78 and 79 in Dublin at McGonagall's, Dandelion Market, as you were. Did you go to those concerts?
Yes, I went to a lot of them. We supported them for a lot of those gigs. We played at the Jingle Balls gigs.
In June?
Yes, they did these Christmas in June gigs at McGonagall's. Yeah. And I remember that one, because I remember talking to the guys at the time, and they said they were taking mime lessons. And I said, what are you doing mime lessons for? Are you going to mime to your songs? Are you going to put a recording on and mime yourself? No, mime like Marcel. And then Bono was getting into all, the way he sort of, well, he doesn't so much now, but he used to act up, and he used to
David Bowie did it.
Yeah.
Didn't love
well, they had these screens at the side of the stage, just a white sheet and a lamp behind.
Projection.
And he would go behind there and come walk around making this sort of shadow show while the Edge was playing his solo, and the song was going on. And I remember he had a black polo neck with the nipple cut out of it. We all thought that was a bit weird. And he was singing the songs and rubbing himself. Oh my God. He does love himself, Bono. You're not noticed.
No, never noticed that. Never noticed that. So what's the one you least suspect, isn't it? Now, also as well, we have the twin bands. We have U2 and the Virgin Prunes.
That's right.
What do you think about the Virgin Prunes?
Virgin Prunes were a little bit too out there for me. I was a bit young to get it, They were so avant-garde and weird. I did see them a few times, and it wasn't for me.
A lot of us last night at the church, just the concert that Philip here had organised, Googie was there.
Yeah.
And he's a real bohemian.
Yeah. Oh, he's lived the life.
He's lived the life, yeah. But again, another guy who's so talented, his artistry.
Yeah, very much, yeah.
I was speaking to him last night, and he has another exhibition in New York starting next
good
month.
Artist.
Very, very talented, yeah, absolutely. So, You were saying about supporting U2. What years was this? This was 1979,
78, 79.
And at this point, yourself and your brother Neil, I mean, I'm not sure everybody is aware, but there's been this myth for years and years that was portrayed by Eamon Dunphy in the Unforgettable Fire book, the first official book, that Neil was in the band, not you. That was a massive mistake.
He was never in the band, and he was eternally envious of that fact.
Right.
Hence his writing his book, Killing Bono.
Killing Bono. That's
He,
right.
he had a terrible case of envy with Bono.
But you guys, you actually formed a couple of bands, didn't you, in the early 80s?
Yeah, we had
you
bands
were
afterwards.
so close to making a success.
Yeah, we had a band called Yeah Yeah, and then a band called Shook Up. And we had a big record deal with Warner's at one stage. That's when I moved over to the UK. And we had some singles out, and we thought we were going to make it, flying around in jets and all, and playing gigs and touring here and there, but never had that hit single. And I remember, I was reminded there when the guys were playing a sort of homecoming, because I went to the Good Earth Studios in Soho when Bono was there with, I think Steve Irvine was mixing it, and they were mixing a live version of it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I think Bono was like redoing his vocals, redoing his live vocals. And we went down to see him at the studio just because they were in town. And I remember we were playing Bono one of our latest songs, and myself and my brother sort of prided ourselves on our very complicated, very melodic pop tunes that had, 14 ridiculous chords in it. It were difficult to play and everything. And we're saying to him, "Oh, what do you think of this one?" And I started playing it, and I got to about the 5th chord in it, and he's going, "Just stop, give me the guitar there." And he took it, and he just went over the first 2 chords of the song. And he says, "That's all you need. They're the only 2 chords in the song that you need." And I'm like, "You don't know what you're talking about, Bono."
All you need is a record guitar, 3 chords and the truth. That's what he said.
Well, they only used 2 chords back in those days.
They did.
You can see that in that song. Isn't that true, there, Scott? It's 1 chord and then a 4th, a suspended 4th. That's all they ever did. And at the time, we thought, no, that's what maybe I should have listened to it.
So this was 1982 for you. Tell us what happened, because obviously Neil's book portrays a crazy situation between
Crazy
you guys.
story where Neil pulls a gun on Bono. That didn't quite happen.
No.
He did in his head.
Probably thought he planned to.
He pulled that gun in his head many times and pulled the trigger.
So the film Killing Bono was probably, 5 years old now, 6 years?
Yeah, about 5 years ago. Yeah.
And you have Robert Sheehan portraying you in the film.
Yeah, that was quite flattering. I met him.
And Ben Barnes. Ben Barnes is definitely flattering for Neil. There's no two ways about it. A handsome guy. Now, how involved were you in the film? Because I understand you were telling me earlier you had a cameo in the film.
Yes, I had a little cameo in the. Have you seen the film Killing Bono? Well, if you want to catch me and Neil in it, you'll have to freeze frame in the strip bar. So for any of the guys, if your wives are watching over your shoulder, you might, just freeze frame this one.
I think a few of us may have done
You might
already.
get in trouble. But we had to, myself and Neil are portraying a couple of us sad old gits at the front row of that strip bar gig. And we were dressed in some old 70s suits with a pint in front of us, and we had to sit in and have that filmed one freezing January afternoon in up near Belfast. That's where it's filmed.
So it wasn't filmed in
It
Dublin?
wasn't filmed in Dublin, no, it was filmed up in Northern
And
Ireland.
how authentic did you feel, particularly the early part of the film when?
Oh, very
with
authentic.
young
The
Bono
first
and the
portrayal,
young
the portrayal in the kitchen, that
Yeah.
was pretty authentic. Apart from one fact they got badly wrong when my character says, "Why don't we do Dire Straits?" I mean, Dire Straits, they didn't exist back then.
No.
In 1976.
No.
I think it was 78 the Sultans of Swing came out. So, and I even told them that, because I read the script before they shot, and I said, "You can't say that." Anyway, they didn't listen to me. So I was involved a little bit, just talking about the script and trying to correct a few things. They got the bus route wrong as well. I don't know if anyone noticed that.
I don't think you
They got the 31A or something to Howth, and it was the wrong bus anyway.
So clearly you're still a big U2 fan.
Totally a big YouTube.
How many times have you seen U2? Because I guess
I think you introduced someone earlier as the
Valerie,
longest
yeah.
living U2 fan,
Definitely.
but that's not right. I am, because I saw the very first gig, and I just saw the last tour, The Innocence and Experience, and I've seen every single tour since.
But Valerie,
in between, I mean.
Valerie, have you seen U2 on every tour? Not quite. What about yourself?
I've seen every single one.
I think he's the champion then.
Every single one. I love them. They're absolutely fantastic, man. They're inspirational. They're clever. They push the boundaries of music. They've invented a whole new style of music, haven't they?
Yeah.
With all their echo guitars and
Yeah. So Edge has got a unique sound. It's
they invented something,
recognise.
and it's they changed the course of music with it.
You're a musician yourself, of course, and
Yes.
you play guitar.
I play guitar, yeah.
How unique do you think Edge actually is? So how would you compare him with all the great guitarists? Because he's not a technical guitarist.
He's not.
He's a sound guitarist.
He's a perfectionist guitarist. Every note he plays is the right note. He doesn't fluff it. But he's not a virtuoso by any stretch. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen, there's a clip on YouTube of him jamming with a load of great stars like Eric Clapton and what have you. And it comes to his solo and it's, whoops.
Yeah. It might be
Because he's not that guy who can just.
It might be out as another example where he plays with Jack White, and of course with the great Jimmy Page.
Right.
And
again, he doesn't do his thing.
But it's the sound.
But what he does with the guitar is completely different, and all those guys copy him in a way.
Yeah.
They've learned from him. I mean, he used it. I remember when he bought his first Echo machine. I think it's called a Wem Copycat.
Yeah.
And it was a little tape machine. It had 2 reels on it and a loop of 1/4-inch tape that went round and round, and he would, play a sound and it would be echoed. And none of us had ever seen this sort of thing before. This is back in '78, and he would play a note and it would be repeated. And they built their whole sound on that. And in fact, around that time, I knew all their songs and the works, and they completely changed. They threw out all their old songs and they came up with a whole new sound, and off they went and became the U2 that we know and love.
Absolutely. So you have been to many U2 tours. What's your favourite tour? What one particular concert you enjoyed more than
Well,
others?
I remember that Milton Keynes Bowl concert
Longest Day.
very well.
That's the Unforgettable Fire Tour.
Yeah, and because of the rain, the electricity went off.
And they played Rain that day.
They played Rain by the Beatles.
By the Beatles, yeah.
That's right. When they couldn't get any instruments going. I remember Bono had his mic on and he told a few jokes for about 10 minutes. Then he got people out of the audience, and then in the Edge got a guitar going and they played the Beatles, Rain, and they played a few other songs, and then the band got going again, and off they went.
It was actually quite magical.
It was amazing, it was a great concert. But so that's one that I loved them all the concerts, but the early ones, the Dandelion Market days were the best.
Oh, now I'm jealous.
The Dandelion was smaller than this. There's probably less people than are here now, and they were just white hot rock band taking off.
And you've heard songs that nobody else in this room
I was
really
thinking of it.
valued.
They had one called The Speed of Light and Concentration Cramp.
Concentration Cramp is the mythical song. Nobody's got a life.
I can still remember, how that went.
Go on, sing it. Sing it, go on.
I got concentration cramp. Something like that.
Something like that. Very good. Thank you.
There were songs about school days, we were school kids. Songs about taking exams.
And if there's one song that you really admire U2 for writing, it may not even be a favourite song. What song would you pick?
Well, my favourite is Beautiful Day, and I think it's the most incredible piece of music. I really do. It's original, the lyrics are just beautiful, and the riff that it starts up with. When I first heard it, I thought that is never going to work as a song. And I thought, well, where's it going? It's just like trying to start up and it's never getting there. But somehow it does get there. And when it does get there, it's amazing. I think that's definitely their best song. Although it's closely followed by all their other songs.
It's a massive catalogue of songs and tunes.
Great. They've had the early ones with War and Sunday Bloody Sunday, all on that album. And then they had a great Joshua Tree, huge moment there, and then the whole comeback with Beautiful Day and everything. And then a couple of years later, whatever it was, Vertigo comes out. What an exciting song that was. They just keep coming out, and I expect we'll hear more from them.
Absolutely.
They're not finished yet, are they?
They're not finished. And tell us, what are you doing now? How's your lifestyle? You living in England?
I live in England, married with 3 kids, and I've got a band called 29 Fingers, if you want to check that out.
Now, why 29 fingers? Someone's missing a finger here.
We started with 3 of us.
Yeah.
And someone was missing a finger. It was the obvious name.
Not you.
Not me. I've got all 10. Now, it was the pianist, funny enough,
Well, that's not a useful thing to happen to
It's
you.
not a good thing to happen for a pianist, but it was actually the reason he learned the piano. He lost a finger, and his hand was all a bit messed up, and he learned the piano as therapy to get his hand moving again, and he's turned into an amazing musician. Anyway, we started this band 29 Fingers, and it's got, I mean, there's more of us, there's 6 of us in it now, so the name doesn't make any sense anymore, and we play gigs all over the place. If you're ever in the UK and you hear of 29 Fingers, come along, we'll do an entertaining show.
Before I spoke with Ivan last year, I realised that I've actually seen Ivan play with 29 Fingers at the Cheltenham Festival last year. Was it last year?
It was, yeah.
2015, yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And I don't remember that night, but you must play U2 songs as well.
Yes, we play a few U2 songs, yeah. We play, especially at festivals. I mean, when we play a lot of parties where people want to dance, and U2 are not a dance band.
They're hard to dance to.
They're hard to dance to. You can wave your arms, you can sing along, you can punch the air, but you can't boogie. And so we play U2 songs, but we play them at the end when everyone's drunk and falling over and just wants to wave their arms and sing along. We play things like Vertigo and Streets Have No Name, and yeah, great songs.
Yeah, that's super. Now, I'd just like to ask you one final question. Is there any regrets do you ever have? You were in the Larry Mullen Band, you were in Feedback, not quite the hype. Is there any regrets?
I've got no regrets whatsoever about being there. I mean, it's made a difference to my life, being there with the guys and feeling like I was a part of it. And they've continued to make me feel like a part of it. I mean, they bring it up, you know, whenever they're talking about the early days, they get a mention, and I still go to see them when they're playing their gigs. So I've certainly got no regrets about that. The only regrets I've got is when I actually had the band with my brother, and we were way too arrogant because we felt like, because we were so close to a band like U2 that was just, you know, taking over the world, we felt like, well, we're just next in the queue, you know, we're going to be next. We were way too arrogant about it. And I regret behaving like that because I think a lot of record company people thought, these guys are assholes. Which they were probably right about.
The record industry hasn't changed, has it?
No, the record industry hasn't changed in that respect.
Listen, what a fantastic gentleman, what a super guy, an absolute legend, Mr. Ivan McCormick.